Oh my
I don't
gosh.
care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another edition of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and it's good to see you. I'm going to start off today's show with a little story. When Sunday's game started, right before it started, I told my wife that I was happy as a Titans fan because it was a game that I didn't have to worry about, I didn't have to stress about because we were supposed to lose. And I was okay with that because I was in tank mode. But then Will Levis happened. And to be quite honest with you, at halftime, I was excited. By the end of the third quarter, I was ecstatic. And by the end of the fourth quarter, I was pretty much jumping up and down as a Titans fan. I was so happy because it seems like we found our quarterback. And really, really happy about that. So let's start off with a little review. Just run down the stats real quick of what happened yesterday. We'll start off with the glaring obvious Will Levis. You know, he had 19 for 29, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, 135 rating, 2 sacks for 12 yards. One he took purposefully to run the clock, which was a really heads-up move by a rookie in his first NFL action. Made so many good choices Sunday. We'll get to a little more of what all that entails. But I'm going to just run down the list real quick. Henry, he went for 22 for 101 yards, 4-point yard per average. Spears only had 3 for 27, but he had a 9-yard average. Willis was 2 for 4 yards. He had a bad snap on the turnover, and he really should have jumped on that ball. He had some fan booing issues, but we'll get back to that later. Receiving, Hopkins 4 for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last time that happened was 2017. Nick Westbrook-Akine was 1 reception for 33 yards and a touchdown. Really pretty touchdown too, because we'll get to that later. Anyway, Phillips was 3 for 24 yards. Chig was 4 for 23 yards, but man, he had a bad drop. And if I'm being honest, Chig's a little disappointing this year. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong on that. Henry was 4 receptions for 21 yards, and Spears had 3 receptions for 9 yards. The defense was stellar, in my opinion. I guess some other people might not say that, allowing them to score on us late in the game, trying to make it a game. Al-Shaair led the team with 11 tackles and 1 fumble recovery. That was really important. Fulton looked a lot better. A lot better overall. Simmons and Landry were men on fire. We had a lot of guys on fire at this game, but Simmons and Landry it looks like Landry might have had his breakout game. I'm hoping so, man, because he got a 1 sack in the game prior to this and 1 sack a couple weeks ago. But this one is his first multiple sack game. He did have 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss each for Simmons and Landry. Plus, Simmons had the beautiful strip sack that Alshire was able to jump on and grab. Gibbons also had a sack, and Autry had one as well. So really nice on the pressure, guys. Garrar, as far as special teams go, Garrar did pretty good on returns, 32 yards, 6-point yard average, 15-yard long. Stonehouse had some great punts that put the Falcons around the 10-yard line. One was for 7-yard, or one was at the 7-yard line, one was 12-yard line, one was 13-yard line, and one was at the 15-yard line. That is all of his punts. And best stat of the game, in my opinion, Falk didn't kick a field goal. He only had extra points, 4 of them. Yep, obviously scored 4 touchdowns. So let's get to some notes about what happened yesterday. First of all, Will Levis had an historic first game as a rookie. Only the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4 touchdowns in his first game. The 5th quarterback to have a 130.5 rating or higher in his first game. By the way, the other 2 quarterbacks that had that was Marcus Mariota in 2015 in his rookie season. The only difference between the two, and let me point out this difference because it's a very important thing that a lot of people are bringing up online, saying that Will Levis did nothing special because Marcus Mariota did it, and look how his career ended up. The difference is this isn't the first game of the season like it was with Marcus. First game of the season, we had a different offensive coordinator, a completely different offense. It probably caught the other team by surprise a little bit. We weren't surprising anybody with our game plan by now. We're in the 7th game of the the 7th game of the season. We're not surprising anybody. So what Levis did was a lot more impressive than what Marcus Mariota did in 2015. By the way, the last guy to do it before Marcus Mariota, the only other guy to do it in the NFL, was Fran Tarkington, and it was in 1961, I think. So, aces on Levis for that. Something I need to talk about and bring up. It's kind of a in the middle thing here. I'm kind of going off topic, but the booze. Lots of people have their own views on the booze, man, and I see it. I see it both ways. I have to look at it both ways because I'm duality, personality, whatever you want to call it. I'm a fan, huge fan, and I believe that the fans have their right because we do put a lot into our teams. If it's not financially, emotionally. Stress, you buy tickets to the game, you pay for merchandise. I believe you have a say if you want to say that you're displeased with what you're getting as a product. I totally agree with that. At the same time, I'm a manager of people, a few different people that work under me. And if I had a bunch of people talking down about one of my guys, first of all, as a manager, I would look into that. But at the same time, I wouldn't want that guy hearing that, and I wouldn't want all my other guys hearing that because it's just not good for morale, especially on a football team with a young guy like that. So I kind of see it both ways. If I'm being honest, though, I would have been booing too. And it's not directed at Malik. And I get that most of the Titans fans are saying that. They're not directing the boos at Malik Willis. They're directing them at Mike Vrabel and his coaching decision to do that. That's exactly what I would be booing for as well. I wouldn't be booing at the kid. I would be booing at the decision to put the kid in because he shouldn't be in the game, especially after the first one. Why do you bring him back a second? I wouldn't have been booing him in the first one. I'd have just been like, all right, let's see what happens here. But after he fumbled the ball and gave them the possession, no, dude, no, you don't. Nope. That's a bad coaching decision as far as I'm concerned. And I would have been booing right along with the crowd. Now, Monday, I would have probably woke up and felt bad about it and not got online and, smashed everybody on Twitter that, said it was a bad example as fans or whatever. I would have probably said, yeah, you're probably right, man. I maybe shouldn't have said those things or did that, but in the heat of the moment, that's how I felt. And so I understand it from both sides. I get it from both views. Anybody want to add anything to that, you can. Back to the good stuff, though. DeAndre Hopkins, the last time the Titans had 3 touchdowns with one receiver was Kenny Britt all the way back in 2010. That's 13 years, y'all. That's 13 years without having one guy catch 3 touchdowns. First time he does it is with our rookie quarterback. Only 3 other quarterbacks have thrown for a touchdown in all 4 quarters of a game that are active right now. That's Tua and Purdy of the 49ers. So again, can't speak highly enough about what DeAndre Hopkins has done and what Will Levis did in the game. What I hope to see next Sunday, a repeat of the exact same thing. Maybe not as much to Hopkins, maybe spread it around a little bit. But I mean, you see there that he did spread it around. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers with more than, 5 receivers with more than one reception. 6 receivers total. That's spreading the ball around pretty good. It's not great, but it's still pretty good. Also, I have to point out the Titans secondary had their best game this season, allowing just 5.8 yards per attempt on 58% passing after allowing 7.8 yards per attempt through their first 7 weeks. Yep. Our secondary had their best game of the season. Do I think that might be because it's tied in with the 6 sacks that we had? Probably. That's what I've been saying the whole time. Pressure helps the secondary, vice versa. The secondary helps the pressure. If those guys play better, then the other guys show up better. I mean, that's just the way it works. And a couple other quick hitters. Titans are undefeated at home. You come into our town, get ready to lose. We're not doing great on the road, not going to lie. But at home, we take care of business. And we had a very convincing win against the Bengals. And I'm sorry to say, but I feel like that was a very convincing win against the Atlanta Falcons. Also have to keep in mind, the Atlanta Falcons, I think, are the rated number 6 defense against the pass. And Will Levis, as a rookie, came in and did all that, rated 6th against the pass. DeAndre Hopkins and all these other receivers, NWI, Chris Moore had a great catch across the middle that got taken away. But Chig, Henry, and Chig dropped one where he should have had at least 30, 40 yards. I mean, he should have got yards after the catch and that was a bad drop. Like I said, he's had a very disappointing season for me. I thought this was going to be a breakout year for Chig, and it looks like he's going to match his first year numbers, which isn't terrible, but I just really thought he was going to break out. Maybe he is more of a Jonnu tight end. I hope he'll snap out of it and break out at some point. Maybe Will Levis can help him with that. But if you look through the first 6 weeks, literally, I was saying this while the game was happening. I have my own little Titans chat group, and I have a group that I'm in currently that I talk to other Titans people. But it's we were laughing about, at halftime we had, Levis had 2 touchdowns, and I was like, hey y'all, he just matched Ryan Tannehill's season production. And then by the end of the fourth quarter, he had doubled Ryan Tannehill's production of touchdowns with no interceptions, and he has made more touchdowns than any quarterback or all the quarterbacks combined of the Titans. Let that sink in for a minute. And he did it in his rookie game, or his first game ever. He played 1 preseason game. Y'all got to stand up and give this man some credit. I was not extremely nice to Will Levis when we first drafted him. I've come around a little bit, but to say I've come around all the way is a lie. Well, before the game anyway. Like I said, at the beginning of the show, I was fully expecting to lose this game and it to be not great. But then Will Levis comes in and just completely changes, I think, the entire mindset of the franchise. I think before this week, I honestly think if we would have had a bad game last week, we would see trades that aren't happening today. And they're not happening because Will Levis had a great game last week. And I think now we've got some believers, including myself. I wasn't a huge believer, but I am now. And I'll be sitting there doing this right here when the next game starts. My heart will be beating. I'll be sweating. Because I'm in it now. Again, let's go. We can do this, y'all. It's not that hard. But, like I said, the secondary just looked a lot better. And I don't think that's better by, subtraction as far as KB goes. Don't take it that way. It's just, maybe it's because they knew they had to step up because KB wasn't there to pick up their slack. But Christian Fulton looked like the better Christian Fulton last year. So I'm hoping that he's come around too. But he man, I haven't seen him put that much pressure on any wide receiver in any game this season. He was in the face of every receiver on every play. He was blanketing people. I was surprised he didn't get a couple PIs because I thought a couple of them were a little, but it worked out. Looking at some of the grades as far as the offense goes, Andre Dillard had a 63.6 passing grade block. Not bad. Peter Skoronski had a 76.3. Aaron Brewer, 77.9. David Brunskill, 87.2. And Nicholas Petit-Ferrer at right tackle was 61.9 pass blocking. Those are pretty good numbers. Those aren't bad numbers. And you have to take into the fact that Will Levis was getting the ball out faster. He had an average time of like 1.9 seconds or 2.1. I can't remember, but it was right at 2 seconds. There was a couple long balls that he threw at 2.5 seconds, but most of the balls that were less than 10 yards came out within a second or 1.5 seconds, which is like lightning compared to Ryan Tannehill or Willis. if anybody can object to anything I'm saying, let me know. Because so far, I feel like I'm just nailing all this. You know what? That's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say. And that's not a good way to end the show, but you know what? No, we've got some defensive grades to go over here. Let's see. Travis Gibson, 7.1. Arden Key, 71. 69.7. Christian Fulton. Harold Landry, 65.9. You know, these are PFF grades, and I don't really agree with PFF grades, but, you know, I try to, let them out anyway. Yeah, that's a good point, Terry. I think we do have a good shot at the AFC South Division now, especially since the Colts and the Texans both lost this week. Jaguars look like they're going to take off with it. I don't know if we can catch them, but it'll sure help if we were able to beat them twice this year. We haven't played them yet, so we're gonna play them twice. I'd like to sweep them. I don't know that it's going to happen, but it would be sweet if we play like we did yesterday. I don't see that as a problem, but I just don't know that we can sustain that defense in the secondary. But I'll be interested to see what happens there. Yeah, I would hope that. Like I said, they're clearly the front runners of the division. But yeah, I'd love to smack them in the mouth twice, along with the Texans and the Colts. We've already faced once, but would love to get a revenge game on them as well. But like I said, we're undefeated at home. Ain't nobody beat us in our own house yet, and that's important. But with Tannehill earlier this season, I just don't know. It's like there's a bunch of bustle on Twitter right now because they're talking about some quote that Vrabel popped off with that Ryan Tannehill would start if healthy Thursday. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, I would think that that's more. I mean, it obviously ain't trying to bump his trade value because that's pretty much over tomorrow. That's over and done with. But I mean, I don't really know what else it could be. Maybe they're trying to hopefully get a last second trade or something like that. But I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, in other news, Titans media seems to be in a frenzy. I don't know what's going on, but Paul Kuharsky and Nate Washington kind of had it out on Twitter. I mean, I'm sure it was a cordial had it out, but I don't know. It didn't look great. And then Tic Tac Titans and Jim Wyatt had a roundabout on Twitter. It was just a wild kind of day on Twitter. If anybody is on Twitter, you understand what I'm saying. If you're not, you're probably just looking at me like I'm nuts. But that's all right. Oh yeah, by the way, the stat that I popped off with about Will Levis being the 5th player in NFL history to have a passer rating 130 or higher. That's with a minimum of 20 passing attempts. I would love that, but I just don't see it. I don't see being able to trade Tannehill anywhere. I just don't see it. I don't see a lot of people paying that kind of money for an aging quarterback who has a bad ankle. I don't see it. I would rather him not be on the Titans. I'd rather us trade him because then there's, not the option of him starting anymore. But as unlikely as it is that we'll trade Malik Willis, I think it's more likely that we would trade Malik Willis before we would trade Ryan Tannehill. I'm just saying, I think there's a better shot that there would be a team that actually wanted Malik Willis before they would want Ryan Tannehill. I'm not saying that there is a team out there that would want Malik Willis. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that would be the first trade. I just don't. I don't see any value in Ryan Tannehill at all. Period. Yes, we have absolutely found our quarterback of the future. Finally, we've been looking for so long. It's been so long since we've had a great young quarterback. Not taking anything away from Tannehill's good years, because I truly do, thank him for all the 19, 20, 21 years. Those were great. The last couple seasons hadn't been great, and this season is absolutely terrible. So super happy. And also validation for Ran Carthon and his picks. Because now we're looking at first round Peter Skoronski, going to be an all-pro left guard. Second round, Will Levis, probably starting quarterback of the future. Third round, Tajay Spears, probably the running back of the future. Kind of hope he's just a change-up back with Derrick Henry for the next at least year or two. But realistically, probably the running back of the future. Round 4, Wiley looks a little bit developmental, but I think by next year he could be in a starting role. Great touchdown catcher. He's already had one for this season. And you pair him up with somebody like Levis, who's got a monster arm and his amazing leap and reach. That could be interesting. So we got top 4 rounds right there. They're all good. And then after that, it's Jalen Duncan, and I think he's developmental, but I think he also could be a starter next year. I don't see that as being unrealistic. And Colton Dowell, I mean, he's a good prospect. He's got great size and stuff, but they've let him be inactive every single game this season. So I was really high on him in the preseason. I really wanted him to go, but I don't know if he will or not. That's a good question. I don't know if we are keeping Henry or not. I would like to. I would think that I think all the fans would like to, but we also have to be realistic. The only way we would keep Derrick Henry is if he came back on like a team-friendly plan. Like 3 to 5 million. And see, that's almost like an insult to the guy who's making 15 this year. Now, he's not going to make 15 next year. Doesn't matter if he stays with us or goes somewhere else. But the point is to stay where you're at and take such a pay hit. I just don't know that he would do that. And I'm sure there's some running back hungry team out there that would be willing to pay him $7 million a season to play for them. And that's probably where we'll lose if he wants to go. I would also like to think that, Henry would understand that he's been a staple player here for years and that he would rather play for us for $5 million a year than somebody else for $7 million a year. But, some guys, $2 million is a lot of difference. We saw that in the A.J. Brown case before he was traded by our dumb ex-GM. That's why he's our ex-GM. Also, I would like to say to all those people that said DeAndre Hopkins was washed up, because there was a lot of you out there. He has 31 catches for 504 yards on the season in 7 games. Leading receiver in 2022 was Robert Woods. He had 53 catches for 527 yards in 17 games. So Hopkins is almost caught up to him in yardage with 20 catches less. Let that sink in for a second. And he's got 10 games to go. Sounds pretty awesome to me. I think so. I don't know. I can't go on enough about how much Will Levis changed my perspective on what we were thinking we were going to do. Honestly wish I had somebody with me tonight. Cortland couldn't make it tonight. He did give me his notes, which is why I have such awesome information for you guys tonight. But I wish I had somebody to bounce off of tonight because my energy is actually really high. I know I don't show it that much. I try to keep my energy a little bit under wraps because I do have a little girl here and my wife who's in the next room. And I try not to be too crazy while I'm doing my show. But I thank you guys for being here tonight. I think we are going to end on that. If you don't know where to find me by now, shame on you. But no, seriously, if you want to follow me and watch more of these episodes that are much more entertaining than this, because I normally have other people here. Sometimes I have special guests. In the past, I've had some really special guests. I won't go into names because I think it's kind of braggish. Anyway, if you want to follow me, you can find me anywhere. Maximus Titan Fan is who I am. That is my personality, and that's who I have my online handle on everything, Twitter, Facebook. But if you want to find or follow the podcast, it's Titans Global Podcast. And you can follow it on YouTube, which is where we prefer you to go. Like and subscribe. It goes a long way. But if you want to watch us on Facebook or Twitter, it's also available on, you can find some shorts on TikTok and Instagram. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I love you all. And we'll see you next week. Or no. We'll see you Wednesday for the pregame show because we're playing Thursday night this week. So see you guys Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Thank you. Y'all have a good night. Peace.